Let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and genuinely felt proud of the person looking back at you? Not because of how you looked. Not because of what you accomplished. But simply because you saw yourself clearly and thought, I'm proud of who I am. For most people, that moment doesn't exist. And that's a tragedy. Because here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. You cannot build a meaningful life on a foundation of self-hatred. You can achieve success while hating yourself. You can make money, climb the ladder, impress people. But you'll wake up one day with everything you thought you wanted and still feel empty inside. Because external achievements can never fill an internal void. You can have the perfect job, the perfect relationship, the perfect body, and still feel like something fundamental is missing. That emptiness comes from one place. The relationship you have with yourself. I know some of you are thinking, this sounds like another self-help video telling me to love myself without explaining how. And I get it. You've heard this message before. Love yourself. Be kind to yourself. Accept yourself. But nobody's ever shown you the actual steps. The real, practical, uncomfortable work that transforms self-hatred into self-respect. That's what this video is about. Not surface-level affirmations. Not fake positivity. But honest, actionable strategies that will fundamentally change your relationship with yourself. And before we dive in, I need you to do something. Subscribe to this channel right now. Because what I'm about to share isn't just one video's worth of content. This is a complete transformation system, and if you're serious about finally learning to love yourself, you need to commit to the journey. Hit subscribe. Drop a comment telling me your biggest struggle with self-love. And let's begin. Here's a question most people have never asked themselves. How many times today did you betray yourself? You stayed silent when you should have spoken up. You said yes when you meant no. You laughed at something that hurt you. You pretended to agree just to avoid conflict. Every single time you did that, you sent a message to your subconscious. My truth doesn't matter. My feelings don't count. I'm not worth defending. And you wonder why you don't love yourself. You cannot love someone you constantly abandon. And right now, you're abandoning yourself dozens of times a day without even realizing it. Think about it. Would you stay in a relationship with someone who ignored your needs constantly, dismissed your feelings as unimportant, made you shrink to make others comfortable, and never stood up for you when it mattered? Of course not. You'd leave that person immediately. But that's exactly how you're treating yourself right now. You're in a toxic relationship with yourself, and you've normalized it to the point where you don't even see it anymore. Self-love doesn't start with affirmations in the mirror. It starts with showing up for yourself in the moments when it's uncomfortable. When someone crosses your boundary, you speak up. When you're asked to do something that drains you, you say no. When you disagree with something, you express it. Not rudely. Not aggressively. But clearly and calmly. Because every time you abandon yourself to please someone else, you dig the hole of self-hatred a little deeper. And the deeper that hole gets, the harder it becomes to climb out. You start believing that your needs don't matter. That your voice doesn't count. That you're somehow less important than everyone else around you. But that's a lie. A lie you've been telling yourself for so long it feels like truth. Now, I want you to pause and think. What's one way you abandoned yourself today? Write it in the comments. Let's bring this into the light together. And if you're serious about breaking this pattern, make sure you're subscribed because next week I'm releasing a video on how to set boundaries without guilt. You're going to need that. Your life is controlled by a story. Not the story others tell about you. The story you tell yourself about yourself. And for most people, that story sounds something like this. I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. Nobody really wants me around. If people knew the real me, they'd leave. I don't deserve good things. That story is destroying your life. And the worst part? You probably don't even realize you're telling it. These thoughts run on autopilot in the background of your mind, shaping how you feel, how you act, and what you believe you deserve. They filter every experience through a lens of inadequacy. Here's what I need you to understand. Just because you think something doesn't make it true. A thought is just a sentence in your head. It's not a fact. It's not reality. It's just one possible interpretation among thousands. Your brain is constantly making up stories to make sense of the world, and most of those stories are biased toward protecting you from pain by keeping you small and safe. But when you repeat that same negative thought for years without questioning it, your brain accepts it as truth. And once your brain believes you're not worthy, it filters your entire life through that lens. You get a compliment. Your brain says, they're just being nice. You succeed at something. Your brain says, that was luck. Someone loves you. Your brain says, they don't know the real me yet. This is how self-hatred becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You start acting in ways that confirm your negative beliefs. You sabotage opportunities because deep down you don't think you deserve them. You push people away before they can reject you. You play small because you've convinced yourself that's all you're capable of. So here's what you need to do starting today. Catch the negative story and challenge it. When your mind says, I'm not good enough, stop and ask, where's the evidence for that? Would I say this to someone I care about? When it says, I always mess up, ask, always? Really? What about the times I succeeded? When it says, nobody wants me, ask, is that actually true, or is that just fear talking? You're not trying to replace negative thoughts with fake positive ones. You're trying to replace lies with truth. Because the reality is this. You're not perfect. You have flaws. You make mistakes. And you're still worthy of love. Those two things can coexist. You don't have to earn worthiness through perfection. You were born worthy, and nothing you do or don't do can change that fundamental truth. Comment below. What's one negative story you've been telling yourself? Let's rewrite it together. And subscribe to this channel because I'm creating an entire series on rewiring negative thought patterns. You don't want to miss it. Let me tell you something most people never learn. Emotions don't destroy you. Avoiding them does. You've spent years running from your feelings. Distracting yourself. Numbing yourself. Pretending you're fine when you're falling apart inside. And every time you do that, you send yourself a message. Your feelings are too much. You can't handle this. You need to hide. That's not self-love. That's self-abandonment. Here's what real emotional maturity looks like. Feeling your feelings without letting them control you. When sadness comes, you don't push it away. You sit with it. You let it exist. You don't judge it or try to fix it immediately. You just let yourself be sad for a moment. When anger rises, you don't explode or suppress it. You acknowledge it. You feel it in your body. You understand what it's trying to tell you. When fear shows up, you don't run. You breathe through it. You recognize it as information, not truth. Most people were never taught how to process emotions healthily. You were taught to hide them, suppress them, or feel ashamed of them. Especially if you're a man, you were probably told that showing emotion is weakness. If you're a woman, you might have been told you're too emotional or too sensitive. Either way, you learned that your feelings were a problem that needed to be managed or hidden. This is the difference between emotional awareness and emotional overwhelm. Most people think if they let themselves feel pain, they'll fall apart. But the opposite is true. When you stop running from your emotions, they lose their power over you. You realize you can feel sadness and still function. You can feel fear and still move forward. You can feel anger and still respond with wisdom. This is what emotional strength actually looks like. Not pretending you're okay. But being okay with not being okay. Not forcing yourself to be positive all the time. But allowing yourself to be human. So here's your practice. The next time you feel something uncomfortable, don't immediately reach for your phone, food, TV, or any other distraction. Just sit there for 2 minutes. Feel it. Name it. I feel anxious right now. I feel hurt. I feel lonely. That's it. You don't have to do anything about it. Just acknowledge it. Because when you stop treating your emotions like enemies, you start treating yourself like a friend. And that shift changes everything. Comment below. What emotion have you been avoiding? Let's normalize feeling things together. And make sure you're subscribed because I'm releasing a deep dive on emotional regulation next week. This is essential work. You know what kills self-love faster than anything else? Comparison. You're scrolling through social media, looking at highlight reels of other people's lives, and telling yourself you're failing. She has the perfect relationship. He has the perfect career. They have the perfect body. And what do you have? You have your real life. Your real struggles. Your real journey. And you're measuring your behind the scenes against everyone else's highlight reel. That's not just unfair. It's impossible. Here's what you need to burn into your brain. Your life is not a competition. You're not in a race with anyone. You're not behind. You're not losing. You're on your own path, moving at your own pace, dealing with your own challenges. The person you see on social media isn't showing you their struggles, their doubts, their failures. They're showing you the curated version of their life that they want the world to see. When you compare yourself to others, you're rejecting your own experience. You're saying, my journey doesn't matter unless it looks like theirs. But their path isn't your path. Their timeline isn't your timeline. Their definition of success isn't yours. The moment you stop comparing and start creating your own vision of what success looks like, everything changes. Instead of asking, why don't I have what they have, ask, what do I actually want for my life? Instead of measuring yourself against others, measure yourself against who you were yesterday. Are you kinder than you were last year? More honest? More courageous? More aligned with your values? That's the only comparison that matters. That's the only measurement that's actually useful for your growth. And here's the truth nobody wants to hear. The people you're comparing yourself to are probably comparing themselves to someone else. Everyone's fighting battles you don't see. Everyone's dealing with insecurities you'll never know about. Nobody has it all figured out. The most successful, confident-looking people you know have moments of doubt and fear. They question themselves. They struggle. They just don't broadcast it to the world. So stop wasting your precious energy trying to be someone else. Start investing that energy into becoming the fullest version of yourself. Comment below. Who have you been comparing yourself to, and what would change if you stopped? And subscribe because I'm creating content on building authentic confidence that doesn't rely on external validation. You need this. Let's talk about the weight you're carrying that nobody sees. The guilt. The shame. The regret. All the times you messed up. All the people you hurt. All the opportunities you wasted. All the versions of yourself you wish you could go back and fix. You're carrying all of that like a backpack full of stones. And it's crushing you. Here's what I need you to hear. You cannot heal while punishing yourself. Self-love and self-punishment cannot coexist. One of them has to go. And most people choose to keep the punishment because they think they deserve it. I hurt someone I loved. I don't deserve to forgive myself. I wasted years of my life. I should feel guilty. I made terrible choices. I need to suffer for them. But here's what that mindset is really doing. It's keeping you stuck in the past. It's preventing you from growing. It's ensuring that you'll never become the person you're capable of being. But suffering doesn't change the past. It doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't undo what happened. All it does is keep you stuck in a prison of your own making. Forgiveness isn't about saying what you did was okay. It's about acknowledging what happened, learning from it, and choosing to move forward. You were doing the best you could with the awareness, tools, and emotional capacity you had at that time. Looking back now with everything you've learned and judging that version of yourself is unfair. You didn't know then what you know now. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You're going to make more mistakes. You're going to hurt people again. You're going to fall short of your own standards. Because you're human. And humans are imperfect by design. We're messy. We're complicated. We're constantly learning and growing and making mistakes along the way. The question isn't whether you'll mess up. It's whether you'll forgive yourself when you do. Because if you can't forgive yourself, you'll stay trapped in shame. And shame doesn't make you better. It makes you smaller. It makes you hide. It makes you play it safe because you're terrified of messing up again. So here's your practice. Think of one thing you've been punishing yourself for. One mistake. One regret. One moment of weakness. And say this out loud. I forgive myself for being human. I was doing the best I could. I'm allowed to move forward. Say it until you feel something shift inside. Say it until your body relaxes. Say it until you believe it. Comment below. I forgive myself. 3 words. Make it real. And subscribe because I'm releasing a powerful video on releasing shame and rebuilding self-trust. You're going to need it. Self-love isn't just a feeling. It's a practice built through daily habits that prove to yourself that you matter. Most people wait to feel worthy before they start taking care of themselves. But it doesn't work that way. You build self-worth through action. Not the other way around. Every time you choose to go to bed at a reasonable hour instead of scrolling endlessly, eat something nourishing instead of just convenient, move your body because it deserves care not punishment, say no to something that drains you, take a break without guilt, or speak up when something bothers you, you're sending yourself a powerful message. I matter. My well-being is important. I deserve care. And over time, those small daily choices accumulate into unshakable self-respect. They become the foundation of who you are. Think about how you treat someone you love deeply. You make sure they eat well. You encourage them to rest. You protect their time and energy. You celebrate their wins. When was the last time you did that for yourself? Self-love isn't about bubble baths and face masks, though those can be nice. It's about the unsexy daily habits that most people ignore. Going to bed on time even when you want to stay up. Drinking water consistently throughout the day. Moving your body regularly. Setting boundaries at work. Not checking your phone first thing in the morning. Eating meals that actually nourish you. Taking time to decompress after stressful situations. These aren't luxuries. These are basics. And if you're not doing them, you're telling yourself you don't matter. You're telling yourself that everyone else's needs come before yours. You're teaching your brain that you're not a priority. Your habits are a vote for the kind of person you believe you are. Every time you follow through on a commitment to yourself, you strengthen your self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of self-love. So start small. Pick one habit. Just one. And commit to it for the next 7 days. Maybe it's writing 3 things you're grateful for every morning. Taking a 10-minute walk every day. Going to bed by 10 p.m. Saying one kind thing to yourself in the mirror daily. Just one habit. 7 days. Track it. Celebrate it. Prove to yourself that you can show up for you. Comment your commitment below. For the next 7 days, I will blank. And subscribe because I'm releasing weekly habit-building challenges specifically designed to strengthen your relationship with yourself. Here's a hard truth. You cannot love yourself fully while surrounded by people who make you feel small. The people you spend the most time with shape how you see yourself. Their words become your inner voice. Their judgments become your self-criticism. If you're constantly around people who dismiss your feelings, make you feel like you're too much or not enough, compete with you instead of supporting you, criticize more than they encourage, or make you feel guilty for having needs, then you're fighting an uphill battle for self-love. Because every time you leave their presence, you feel worse about yourself. And that's not okay. You deserve to be around people who make you feel good about who you are. I'm not saying cut everyone off. but I am saying you need to be brutally honest about which relationships are draining your ability to love yourself. Some relationships need boundaries. Some need distance. And some need to end. And yes, that's hard. Especially when it's family or longtime friends. But here's what's harder. Spending the rest of your life feeling like you're not enough because you're trying to earn love from people who will never give it. You are allowed to protect your peace. Even from people you care about. Especially from people you care about. Real love doesn't make you question your worth. It reminds you of it. Real friends celebrate your growth, not resent it. They challenge you to be better, not make you feel bad for trying. So pay attention to how you feel after spending time with people. Do you feel energized or drained? More confident or more insecure? Supported or judged? Free to be yourself or like you have to perform? Your nervous system knows the truth even when your mind makes excuses. And while you're creating distance from toxic people, actively seek out relationships that uplift you. Join communities aligned with your values. Find mentors who inspire you. Engage with people who are also on a growth journey. Spend time with people who celebrate you authentically. You become like the people you surround yourself with. So choose people who reflect the version of yourself you're becoming. Comment below. Tag someone who genuinely supports your growth. Let's celebrate good people. And subscribe because I'm creating a series on building authentic connections and recognizing toxic relationship patterns. When your friend gets a promotion, you celebrate them. When they accomplish something difficult, you cheer for them. When was the last time you did that for yourself? Most people completely ignore their own wins while magnifying their failures. You remember every mistake but forget every victory. You graduated? Everyone does that. You got through a hard week? That's just life. You tried something new? It wasn't that big of a deal. Stop minimizing your progress. Every step forward matters. Every time you choose growth over comfort. Every time you show up when it's hard. Every time you choose yourself. Those moments deserve acknowledgement. They deserve celebration. Here's what I want you to start doing today. Keep a win journal. Every single day, write down 3 things you did well. Not things that happened to you. Things you did. I spoke up in a meeting even though I was nervous. I went for a walk instead of staying in bed all day. I said no to something I didn't want to do. I cooked a healthy meal. I was kind to someone. I finished a task I'd been avoiding. These don't have to be huge. In fact, most of them won't be. But when you track them daily, you start to see evidence of your growth. You start to recognize your own strength. You start to respect yourself more. Because you're building a relationship with yourself based on evidence, not just feelings. And evidence is powerful. It's undeniable. And when you're having a hard day, when self-doubt creeps in, you can look back at that journal and remind yourself. Look how far I've come. Look what I've survived. Look how much I've grown. That's not arrogance. That's honesty. You deserve to be proud of yourself. Not someday when you've made it. But today, for showing up and trying. Comment below. What's one win from this week you haven't acknowledged yet? And subscribe because I'm releasing a video on building unshakable self-belief through daily practice. There's a version of you that exists in your memory. The one who made mistakes. Who didn't know better. Who hurt people, including yourself. And right now, you're probably still angry at that person. You look back and think, how could I have been so stupid? Why didn't I see it? I should have known better. But here's what you're missing. That version of you was doing the absolute best they could with the awareness they had at that time. They didn't have the knowledge you have now. They didn't have the emotional tools. They were operating from wounds you've since started healing. Hating your past self doesn't change anything. It just keeps you trapped in a cycle of shame. What if, instead of attacking that version of you, you offered them compassion? What if you said, you were trying? You didn't know what you didn't know. And I forgive you for not being perfect. Because that past version of you, they got you here. To this moment, where you're finally ready to change. They survived things you sometimes forget were hard. They kept going when everything felt impossible. They made choices that led you to the wisdom you have now. They deserve gratitude, not hatred. Making peace with your past self doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It means acknowledging what happened without using it as a weapon against yourself forever. You learned. You grew. You're different now. And that's enough. Comment below. I forgive my past self. Let it be real. And subscribe because I'm releasing deep healing content. I'm releasing regret and stepping into your present power. Here's the final truth. Self-love is not a destination. It's a daily practice. There will be days when you love yourself easily. And there will be days when it feels impossible. Days when you're proud of who you are. And days when you question everything. Days when you feel strong. And days when you feel broken. All of that is normal. Self-love isn't about feeling perfect all the time. It's about showing up for yourself especially when things are hard. It's about choosing yourself even when it's uncomfortable. It's about speaking kindly to yourself even when you feel undeserving. It's about setting boundaries even when people push back. It's about forgiving yourself even when you mess up. This journey doesn't end. It evolves. And every single day, you get to choose. Will I abandon myself today? Or will I show up for myself? Most people never make that choice consciously. They just drift. They react. They let life happen to them. But you're different. You're here. You're watching this video. You're ready to change. And that decision, that commitment, that's where everything begins. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 30 days, commit to one daily practice from this video. Speak kindly to yourself. Set one boundary. Acknowledge one win. Sit with one emotion. Forgive one mistake. Just one practice. Every day. For 30 days. Track it. Share your progress in the comments. Hold yourself accountable. And watch what happens when you finally start choosing yourself consistently. Subscribe to this channel right now because I'm building a complete library of self-love content. Weekly videos on boundaries, emotional healing, confidence building, and authentic living. Like this video if it resonated. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And drop a comment answering this question. What's the first step you're taking today to love yourself more? This isn't just another video you watch and forget. This is the beginning of a completely new relationship with yourself. One where you stop abandoning yourself and start showing up fully. One where you stop hating yourself and start respecting yourself. One where you finally realize you are always worthy. You just had to learn how to see it. Now go. Choose yourself. And don't stop. I'll see you in the next video.